This tutorial will cover ArrayList. ArrayList can be used to store objects in a resizable array of a list. So it says that dynamic array of the list. We are going to store objects. So let me look at a simple array example so that I can compare what's the difference between array and then array list. So if we have array A, we have 3 values. Array reference variable A. I open visualize it. Memory space referring to array data structure with 3 integer values. Each value can be referred to with index value or index variable. So index is here 0, 1 and 2. Because array A we declare with the 3 values at the beginning, we don't have 4 elements, or we cannot have additional elements. So if you say A3 equal to 40, it's not going to be allowed. It's going to have index out of boundary exception error. The space does not exist basically. That's the typical problem with the array or characteristic of array, fixed size. ArrayList class give you a bit more flexibility. It's dynamic or resizable. So let's say we want to save string objects. This is a normal syntax. So data type is ArrayList. We are going to deal with the string value or string objects. So second time when you have a string, you can omit. Default size is 10 actually. Not like array. ArrayList has a default size or default capacity. It happens to be 10. So if you don't declare, it's going to give you up to 10 space. So it can be done this way, ArrayList. Type of object we want to store, in this case string. New, we can leave it blank. We can leave the size blank. That means we can have up to 10 elements for this array. So syntax is pretty much the same, so I will try to use the second statement. Because ArrayList is a class, we can have a object reference variable refers to ArrayList class. Let me simply visualize it in terms of number of space. Because default size is 10, so I need a 10 storage space. So let's say if you have a string value or string object, you can use a fully functional string object. Then we can add to list. The way we can add to a list is using add methods. So we have a string object called London that point to a value called London in string class. So what list.add London does is we're going to store this object reference variable into list. Okay, this one is stored inside ArrayList. That's what add method does. Okay. In array, when we're looking for a size of array, we say array.length. Here we say list size. We are using methods. It's going to give us 10. Then will be 3. So if we say A0, it's going to reverse the number 10. So if we say list.get, that's the method name, 0, index 0. You can reverse to object name called London. Again, that's the object name. That actually refers to string object. Let me give you one or two methods. Then I will move to a demonstration, okay? So here index value 0 and 1 all the way to 9. So we have a 10. This size is actually before you add anything, default size. Let me say here array first, make it clear, okay? The question is here, what if we add one more? We can visualize it. Because default size is 10, the question is what will happen here if we try to add one more? Are we allowed to do this or not? Answer is yes, you can do that. That's the advantage of using ArrayList over array. So new capacity can be calculated by 1.5 times plus 1. So let's say if we have a 10 elements at this point, you try to add one more, then how do we calculate the actual space? 1.5 plus 1. Your array list becomes 16. Means your array list is capable of saving or storing 16 objects. So after 10th object, when you add 11th objects, it's going to enlarge your list will be enlarged to 16 space. That's the idea of a dynamic or resizable array. So that's going to give you 10, 11, that will be 12, 13, 14, and 15, that will be 16 space. So we can remove last one. Okay, let's look at the demonstration now. So here, ArrayList, I'm going to use multiple objects based on some sort of hierarchy. So let me begin with a simple person class. Let's say we have one data field called name. Setters, getters, okay. We need one more. Okay, let me move this constructor up there. Here, ToString methods. Okay, straightforward here. Let me have one more constructor so that I can construct a person object with the name. So ArrayList, then type is person class type. Name it as a list, new ArrayList. I can omit person. Default size 10. So you need to import ArrayList on the Java util. This is the same as that one, so we can remove. Again, default size. You don't have to write it down if you're going to use default size. Anything specific, you can write it down. Let's say 3 person objects. I will just say random names with the person 1, 2, 3. Here I'm going to add those 3 person objects into a list. The method we can use is add, and then object name. So let me repeat P2 and P3. So first time your list has P1, which is John. When you say add P2, your list already has John. Now you have a Jenny. After you add P3, you're going to have a Will as well. So 3 objects in the list. Let's display the contents in the list. In this case, we are referring to object. So list.toString. Whatever inside the list is going to print as a string. So happen to be ToString is going to override the ToString methods. That's why you can see the name of the person. And that happened to override these ToString methods. Okay, that means it's okay. Let's see how to remove one person. Let's say at index 0, the first one. Let me get rid of John. Okay, you can use the index values 0. This time John disappear. Okay, you have a Jenny and Will. We can remove Jenny using object name or object reference variable. P2. Now your list has only one object called Will. Let me go up. Here we have list size. We can say list and size. That's the method name. Before you remove it, there are 3 elements. So it's going to give you 3. So let me just paste it here. So before and after. So we have at the beginning 3, and then we remove 2, we have 1. Okay. There are a couple of other useful methods. Can we say is Jenny in the list? Not very practical at this point, so that's the name of the method actually. Say contains name of the object P2, which is not very practical. But idea is, can we search for the object in the list? If it's true, and then or otherwise we'll return false. Sorry, I forgot to print. Of course, we have P2, so we'll say true. Also, we can look search for location of object in the list. So basically say where is Jenny. It's obvious if you look at the list, you will say number 1 because Jenny is located second place and the index start with 0. So Jenny is located number 1 or index variable 1. So let me have a look. Seems like pretty much cover all most important things. So this time, instead of printing or display contents or display list of objects in the list, can we actually print or display contents of that objects in the list? So this one will give us list.get I will return object such as P1, P2. Then it overwrite the ToString method, so that's why you can actually see value. But in practice, you're supposed to do list.get I. ToString method is supposed to be there. Because value is a string, that's why, okay, this is what is supposed to be done. P1.toString. Answer is operation is exactly the same. That's the correct syntax, okay? There should be a list get I that will return object P1, P2, P3. If you want to see inside the object, you're supposed to say ToString. That's why it looks like a list.get I ToString. Let's print in the reverse order. Quickly demonstrate the last number or last space or capacity of array depends on list size minus 1. That means if there are 10 elements, the last index is 10 minus 1, which is 9, okay? Minus, that's it, we print one by one. I think I will change the print. Maybe I will add one space to make it more readable. After print one element, I need one space. So we have a John, Jenny, Will, then reverse order, Will, Jenny, and John. That's correct. Put it here. Now let's look at the subclass of a person called student. Let's say extend person. Major. Insert code to string. Okay. Super dot to string, so I can print student name as well. This time I will say faculty. Say faculty has a rank of assistant, associate, professor. Default value. ToString invoke superclass methods. I will just say IT here. One student, one faculty object. Here we don't really have this constructor. So if you go back to students, we are using default constructor, means we need to declare constructor. Constructor with a one formal parameter. Here say given type is not available. So go back. Constructor. I will select both default, and then another one is constructor with one parameter. We are reporting to super. Again, we don't have this constructor, so we do same thing. Default constructor and another constructor. I forgot to put extend, so person extend. Now that can be done, okay. So let's add two more objects into the list. S1. I think this should be F1, okay. The question is this okay? We have a different object type. 3 persons objects and one student object, one faculty object. But if you remember polymorphism, we can use a superclass to refer to subtype, or we say supertype can refer to subtype objects. So here person, here we can have a person as long as a student and faculty is subclass of person or subtypes of person. We can refer to it. That's why we can add to same list. Okay. Looks complicated, but our first object was John and Jenny, Will, then Kelly, then that's it. There are 3 objects, okay? And we have a student and then faculty, okay? So John there, again, Jenny there, Will already there, Kelly as a student. Also we have an instructor or faculty as a also, which is assistant professor. So as you can see, the array list is flexible. The size is up to number of elements inside. Even though it's at the beginning it gives us default size of 10, the size can be dynamic or resizable. So we have a student and faculty. So polymorphism works here, in this case, person. Super type can refer to student and faculty as well. Okay. Everything seems okay. Hang on, let me have a look. Did I miss anything? Let me cover a couple of methods. This is can be useful. List is empty. Before you process anything, you may like to see whether list is empty or not. False. Okay. We have multiple objects. That's why. Also, we can have remove all elements at once. The method name is called clear. Then it's going to give you nothing inside the list. Okay. So we clear, then we have an empty list. Okay. Let me have a look. Is there anything I can cover? Okay, and let me just add one more. Can we update elements? Normally we say replace, but the method name here is coded as a set. Okay. We can set a new value, or we can replace existing elements with a new one. So let's say we have an object called p number 4, which is a Helen. Can we replace Jenny with Helen? Okay, the method is set. What we can say is that we are going to set new object at index 0. So if you look at here, Helen is the first element. It used to be John. Okay. Please try to exercise again. Thank you. That's all.